Welcome back to the Mash Paddle Brewing Supplies YouTube channel. Today, another brew day video. Today we are making a Saison. I decided to have a crack at making a Saison. I haven't made a Saison in a couple of years now. It's a beer style that I really do like and enjoy, and I probably don't drink enough of it, so why not brew a Saison? What I'm thinking of doing with the Saison as well is I'm actually going to add some fruit into the primary. So I'm thinking of actually making a strawberry Saison and adding 1 kilo of strawberry puree. But this video is not going to show you how to add the fruit in, it's just the brewing of the actual Saison. Now to start with, I'm also going to do no sparge. So basically I'm going to pretty much have my little Brewzilla at capacity with this one. I'm hoping to end up with a 20-21 litre batch. I've currently got about 24 litres of water that's heating up to strike temperature, which will be at 69. I'm then going to add my grains, which the grain bill is going to come in at around 6 kilos. That should have this thing pretty much at capacity, and we're going to mash at 65 degrees for 60 minutes. But while it's heating up, I'm going to be adding some brewing salts. So I've got 3 grams of gypsum and 3 grams of calcium chloride. Now the reason for adding this is I've started to get a bit more into water profile, and particularly the water in my area is very high in pH levels. So this will actually try and drop that down to what we're aiming for in the mash is going to be around about 5.61. So it's going to toss him in and give him a bit of a stir around as this reaches up to strike temp, and then when it gets there we'll throw in the grain basket and all of these grains. So the recipe for this Saison today is 6 kilos of grain, our base malt, 4.8 kilos of pale, Barrett Burston pale to be exact. We have 600 grams of Munich 2 and 600 grams of wheat. Hop schedule is pretty simple for this one. We're only using 1 hop, which is East Kent Golding, EKG. We're going to have 25 grams at the 60-minute mark at the start of the boil, and then another 25 with 20 minutes remaining. The yeast for this one is going to be Lallmand Belle Saison yeast. I have to look that because I can't pronounce that properly. And we're going to be pitching that at around about 28 degrees. So this is a good beer to be brewing as we're heading into warmer months, because from a temp control perspective, it can go a little bit higher. This one, they sort of recommend around about 28 degrees for pitching and during fermentation, which is pretty cool, especially in the hot weather. And as I said, I'm going to add probably 1 kilo of strawberry puree about 7 days into fermentation. Of course, you don't have to add fruit, but if you wanted to use a different fruit, you could use mango, pineapple, peach. A peach Saison actually would go down pretty well as well, or any of those sort of stone fruits I think would work pretty well with this one. This beer is going to come in at about 7%, so it is going to be a pretty big beer. Let's get brewing. So we've hit our strike temperature, so time to pour in our grains. Going to mix these in, get rid of all the sort of doughy clumps that you sometimes get. Because this is going to be a no sparge basically at the end, I'll just lift the grain basket out, let that drain naturally, see what's left in there in terms of volume. I may need to top up a little bit. The original recipe had 30 litres of water to start with, which is the capacity of my Brewzilla. So by the time you added the grains in, it would have been like 36 litres, and it'll be all over the floor, kind of like the grains that are currently on the floor here in a moment. Okay. So what I'll do is set our temperature to 65 degrees and we'll let it mash for 60 minutes. Colour's starting to darken up nicely with this one now. We've got about 20 minutes left of mash and then we'll get prepped for boil. So the mash is now done, so I need to pull the grain basket out and let that drain, and then we'll see what our volume is and how much I need to top up, and then we'll kick off the boil. So just did a test for the pH and we were aiming at 5.6, 5.7. I'm going to be happy enough with that. That's not too bad. Alrighty, so our mash is done. Looks like I will have to top up with about 5 litres of water before we start the boil. So I've got this heating up, got some more water to pop in. And once this gets up to boiling, we'll kick off the process with 25 grams of EKG. Right, so now we are ready for the boil. So I'm going to grab my hot basket. Sanitize him up, pop him in. So the boil volume is going to come in around about 24 litres, so I'm probably going to have about 21 litres at the end of this. Hopefully maybe a touch less. So 25 grams of EKG is going in now at 60 minutes. And then in 40 minutes time, we'll add the other 25 grams. So that's the boil done. Looks like I didn't get as much boil off as I thought I was going to. There's about 23 litres, 22 litres sitting in there at the moment, but that's all right. So what we'll do now is try and chill this down as quick as possible through my ice bath arrangement, which we would have seen in previous videos, and then we'll pitch our yeast. So that's now going into the fermenter. Just to a gravity reading. So gravity was a little bit off. Finished up at 1046. Now at the top of the video, I think I said I was aiming at a 7% beer, which was incorrect even from the very beginning. I was only aiming for about 5.8 to 6%. So at 1046, we're probably going to finish up at around 5.1, 5.2. So yeah, roughly close enough. Close as it's going to get anyway. I'm now just pitching the yeast. So with the Lallmand yeast, you do a little yeast starter with this one, and it's a very simple yeast starter. It's just 35 degrees water, about 100 ml, sprinkle him in, leave for about 15 minutes, give it a stir, and then she's ready to pour in. So as I said, what I'm planning on doing is adding strawberries about a week into fermentation. I'm looking at probably about 1 kilo of strawberries pureed is what I'm thinking. I'm hoping that's going to give it a nice flavour and a nice bit of a pinky red tinge to it as well. That's it. Stick around to the YouTube channel. In a few weeks we'll have the tasting video for this one, as well as a whole bunch of other tasting videos to come along very soon. Cheers.